Hi, it's Larry Feldman, President of Career Changers USA. Let's talk about habits. Jim Ryan, the great American distance runner, once said, "Motivation is what gets you started, habit is what keeps you going." We need to understand and develop things that will continually move us forward. You know, I always say that if you move your trash can in your kitchen, for a week you'll be throwing trash where it used to be. We sometimes think that it's impossible to get into good habits, when it's actually just as easy, if not easier, to get into good habits as it is to bad habits. It's where we give ourselves too much of a soft center. Oh, I can never do that, I can never change it. Sure you can. You got into a bad habit, let's break it and get into a good habit. We need to develop habits that will allow us to develop our personality, our work ethic, and how we actually do things. You know, it's really interesting. I was wrapping up very late one night, and we had a couple things that we had to follow up on, and I said to my assistant, "You know what, we'll get it in the morning." And she said, "Great, I'm a little tired." 10 minutes later, I was sending her the information and she was sending it to me. And we texted each other and said, I guess we can't help ourselves. Because our habit is to always try to be completists, always try to do one more thing. If that's the way you roll, it's very hard for people to stop you. Because you're going to find that most people have developed and accept terrible habits. I always tell the story, forgive me for repeating myself if you've heard any of my other talks. I watched the general manager of the dealership I started working at many years ago. He was leaving and the operator said, "Boss, you have a call." And his answer was, "Tell them that I left." In a million years I could never do that. I'd want to know if the guy or lady had a small problem I could fix, or heck, maybe they wanted to buy 2 or 3 cars. Why would I want to put that off? But the habit they had developed apparently was, it's not that important. The watch says I'm done, I'm done. I like better the idea that I know that if you reach out to me, you're going to get me. And I'm going to make every effort I can to reach back to you. Now some of it's as a customer, I want you to know I'm accessible. But what's really important is I've developed habits where I take my business serious. I take my customers serious, which means I take myself serious. Once we develop a concept that things are not that important, we're in trouble. And listen, I'm not going to say it's easy. Habits take work. But look at the results you get. Look at the carrot and stick here. Look at the fact that if you can get yourself to be where you are on time, to complete the work you need to do, to always push yourself to do a little bit more, look at the success level you're going to have. Because we get used to not doing enough or doing less than what's expected of us. How about if the habit we develop is, I always want to do just a little more. I just want to push a little bit harder. It feels great to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I did my best. Because you're going to find that people that develop bad habits tend to accept less in life. Well, yeah, what can I do about that? What have you tried doing about that? We have to understand with our habits that they're us. They develop into these things that could be great or terrible. Let's not let bad habits hold us back or stop us from being successful. Let's get into the habit of doing things the right way. It'll give you a great advantage, because once people see that your habits are positive and successful, they'll give you more leeway because they know they can count on you. Just like, right, if I asked any of you on the job you have now or your last job, who was always late? You knew right away. You didn't have to think about it, because that person had developed the bad habit of not taking their alarm clock seriously. Think about the habits you want to have. Think about how easy it can really be to develop them and break some of your bad habits, and watch what happens. Because successful people have developed a habitual way of developing great habits. Let's put ourselves in a position to succeed by having behavior that's intelligently predictable. Let's develop the good habits. I know you can all do it. Larry Feldman, thanks so much for listening to my Larry Talk.